0853 Zulu. Wind 085 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 4800 feet. Broken at 25,000 feet. Temperature 17.
Dew point 15. Altimeter 3016. Density altitude 100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 36 right, 36 left, 35 left,
5 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November. Orlando International Airport, information November. 0853 Zulu. Wind 085 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 4800 feet. Broken at 25,000 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 15. Altimeter 3016. Density altitude 100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 36 right, 36 left, 35 left, 35 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November. Orlando International Airport, information November. 0853 Zulu. Wind 085 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 4800 feet. Broken at 25,000 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 15. Altimeter 3016. Density altitude 100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 36 right, 36 left, 35 left, 35 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November. Orlando International Airport, information November. 0853 Zulu. Wind 085 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 4800 feet. Broken at 25,000 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 15. Altimeter 3016. Density altitude 100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 36 right, 36 left, 35 left, 35 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. You have information November. Advise on hold short instructions. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air contact. You have information November. Advise on national air
say intention's just cratered, so let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. Let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not let's say intention's maybe we'll just try that again. That's not Orlando Brown, SubWoofer. 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 That's not Orlando Brown, SubWoofer.
Altitude 100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 36 right, 36 left, 35 left, 35 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Lima. Orlando International Airport, information Lima. 0953 Zulu. Wind 085 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. Unit 4800.
Okay, well I fixed one of the problems.
Broken at 25,000 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 15.
Now, if I can figure out how to get the say intentions to work. Oop. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I had it working yesterday. I don't know why it's decided it doesn't want to mic up anymore. No mic audio.
anybody does show up, this is all going to get deleted and started over. So, sorry about that, guys. This is 3 people here. I don't know if anybody's listening, please comment, because this is, I'm having setup issues with, golly, say intentions. It worked yesterday, you know, it's not working. Mic check. Alright, so they have a radio check on 118.45. So what I'm going to do, 118.450. Alright, and I'm going to put on 2 and then put that on the 118.450 and see if that doesn't come through. Radio check, radio check. Radio check, radio check. Radio check, radio check. No, I don't want you full screen. Sorry guys, I'm just going to let this stream so I can use this as a test bed, and then once I get it working I'll delete all of that and start over with a fresh stream. But in the meantime, I don't have many options except to try to fix it. How things go from one day working to the next day they don't is beyond me, but okay. So the push to talk is a common one, common joystick. Common joystick button. Turn this off, I'm getting an echo. Radio check, radio check. Radio check. Radio check. Radio check, radio check. Unbelievable.
This is what COM 1 sounds like.
This is what COM 2 sounds like.
Testing 1, 2, mic check, mic check. Yep, there is nothing coming through there, but don't even know.
Alpha Zulu, read back correct.
Don't know if the mic is even keying up.
Tower Cessna November 239 Alpha Zulu is ready for departure runway 11.
Wow. I am almost suspect that they're having issues because it just completely dumped out. So, hey, good morning. Is it still echoing? Can't really recycle the power on the radios. Well, I mean, I can. I mean, I don't think it's the radios, but Say Intentions just crashed on its own twice, so I'm suspect it might be something wrong with Say Intentions. The ATC was you or not. Not sure I understand what that means. It's showing that I'm not getting any. It's showing an error, so radio check, radio check. Yeah, no. All right, so 121.8. Orlando ground, Southwest 782. Is it still echoing, you said? Yeah, and I'm not getting, well, this is a bust. Sorry about this, guys, but I don't know what the deal is, so. Say Intentions was working yesterday, and now all of a sudden I'm getting this, so I don't understand what happened. Nothing changed. I didn't change anything. Say Intention has been randomly crashing, so I don't know if that's something that they're having issues with. Yeah, when I push the talk, I hear the clicking, but there's no. I'm not getting anything. This is saying that there's an error, and the push to talk button is correct. It's what it's supposed to be. Same thing as in V-Pilot. So I don't know. I think it's just something goofy with this. So just have to table that for another day. Okay. What about just regular audio? Is the regular audio just me talking fine? Yeah, the inputs, all of that was set yesterday. I used it. I had a flight yesterday, and it's all the same thing. Nothing's changed. That's why I said I don't know what's different. It's like yesterday it worked, today it doesn't, and nothing's changed. The only thing I didn't do yesterday was live stream, and I did fix one of the channels on the live stream. Okay, so then the intercom is fine. So we're just going to go without ATC. Doubt VATSIM is going to be on. They're so hit and miss. Let's see. Actually, what I can do. Let's go here and VATSIM radar. We got F11. Okay. Nope, now they're gone. Yeah. Well, we're not going to do that, so we're just going to fly. This was this is a Southwest virtual flight. Make sure that don't really have enough time. I woke up early this morning and decided, let me just do a flight. What the heck? And that was at 3:30, and it's 5:20, and I'm still not off the ground. That's how these live streams can go sometime. Oh, let's see. Orlando to, there we go, 82. Okay, so we're just going to bust out of here and go for it with no ATC. And just see how it goes. Alright, so that's good. Don't need that one. Sim brief here. So I've got my flight plan and sim brief, and we're going to look at the departure. I was going to go 335 left because it's closer to where I am. Let's see. The Danny 35 left. What was the transition? The board. There we are, board. And we'll take a look at that. All right. Okay. Looks good until we'll figure out what our arrival is going to be when we get down there. Alright, so going through our originating checklist, dispatch load sheet we have, voltmeter. Voltmeter looks good. We've got plenty of amps. I do have the APU started. I started that a bit earlier. And we'll put the APU on the bus. An isolation valve on auto, packs are on auto, recircs on auto, trim air's on, voice recorder's in auto, and our bleed air's on, and A's off, B's on our hydraulics. Cabin utilities, seats electric is on, emergency exit signs are armed and guarded, yaw damper's on. Check our LE devices, that looks good. Reversers are off, EECs are on and guarded. Flight recorder is checked. Mach speed indicator is good. Crew oxygen is 16. Passenger oxygen is on and guarded. Stall warning 1 checked. Stall warning 2 checked. Coming down the box here, we've got our window heats are on, probes are in auto, TAT's tested. We're going to go over here and check our wing body overheat test. That's good. And we do have duct pressure. 37 is set in the pressurization for the altitude, and we're going to put just 50 in here for now for Punta Cana. We have our wheel wells on, wing lights on, which we don't need. Position is steady. We got the logo light on, and anti-collision's off because the engines are not running, and everything else looks good. We have 3 greens, landing gear down. We're going to put our brakes in RTO. Nose wheel steering is guarded. Panels are normal, that's good. N1 set, speed set to auto. And we'll do a fuel reset. And I believe that's it, except I want to do a pressurization check. We're going to do alternate, confirm, manual confirm, back to auto fail check, good. Fire start fault check, 2 lights. Fire test good. Squibs 1, squibs 2. Ground proximity.
Pull up.
1 light.
Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. sink rate.
So are you looking to purchase? You've spoken to these guys at FSC? Yeah, they are good people. Okay, cargo fire test. That's good. And test the weather radar.
Monitor radar display.
Okay, IRSs are aligned. Did that earlier.
Go around. Wind shear ahead.
Air conditioning
Wind shear
panel
ahead.
is set to
Wind shear
auto.
ahead.
Flaps are off. Fuel cutoffs, fuel levers in cutoff. Parking brake is set. Lights are as needed. Yaw damper is on. So I go through this. There's a originating flight, there's a pre-flight. All of these things are in there. Some of them are duplicated depending on what stage of the flight you're in. And I've just used this to verify that I've looked at everything, and I have, so that's good. Flight director's on, and it is on master. ATIS has been attained, clearance, we have our PDC, CDU is all but set, so let's finish this up. All right. So just reviewing our OFP, we have estimated takeoff 135.5, so they're going 136, they rounded up. Block fuel 16.2, we have 16.3. Zero fuel weight is 119.6, 119.7, so they're rounding up since it's 684. Reserves 3.4, that's correct. Cost index of 30, that jives. ISA deviation is 8.46. Here they're getting a plus. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at. So this is part of the ProSim OS, so it'll give me my CG. So we're at 20.7. Oh, 20.7, but let's get our takeoff performance data. Change this to 3.5 left. Calculate. Select temperature 47/17 TAT. That looks good. Flaps 5. Yep. Uh, 20.7 on this. Yep, 20.7 on the CG. .536 is the trim set. You can't see it here, but there's a, you might better see it. There's a little tape in here that has the same trim tab information I have here that's displayed on the ECAS up there, so that helps. Alright, so we're going to go here to takeoff performance, and our winds are 080 at 5. You can see that in the upper part of the winds of the performance. 080 at 5. And there's no slope, and its heading is 5. Acceleration height is 800, that's okay. Conditions are dry. Alright, so this is the part that always gets me, is what's the, I've not had one that's been identical with the V speeds. They all tend to vary, so this one's saying 141, 143, 150. But if I go request here, now they match the profile, so I need to try to understand what's going on with that, why that is changing. Something between ProSim and perf 4717, so, and I get this VNav invalid performance. That's been happening every flight. And I'm not 100% sure what's causing that. Yeah, I've got a session with FSC on Monday to go over the audio. They've hooked all this audio up through Dante Virtual. It's called Dante Virtual. I guess it's like sort of like that voice meter cabling thing. But anyway, there's a card inside of the Bose amp that's got Ethernet fed in and out of it. And there's this matrix of audio outputs and inputs, and you check the box and everything gets piped in different directions. And then all of that's got to be talking to OBS so that it can stream the right directions. But then I tested it on the first officer's headset the other day, and I could barely hear anything coming out of the headset, so they need to check that. So I'm going to have them do all of this. Yeah, sorry if it's, I don't know where the echoing is coming from. It's really rather difficult to try to, almost need two people, somebody in the room listening what you guys are doing and adjusting stuff while I'm talking and, you know, working other aspects of it. And unfortunately, I'm a one-man band here, so it's kind of what it is. If it's unbearable, I'm sorry, and I won't take offense if you don't want to listen. I just figured I'd get this flight done since I've been here for about 2 hours now and haven't even gotten pushback from the gate. Alright, so let's see. Leave that there. And again, it's given me this VREF. Let's try the departure again. 5 left, Danny, board. I've heard reloading the information will help do it, but I don't know. It shouldn't be. That should not be required, and it's something that's sort of surfaced over the past couple of flights. No matter what I do, I get this VNav wrong. So the last thing I did when this happened was I went to the perf init ref and entered this. It said 47/17. Okay. Now, nope. Okay, I'm getting a flag, but I'm not. It's not setting. There we go. Alright, so let's try it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but this is the way I've always done it, and it just seems like now it's acting funny. It's a known problem with ProSim. Yeah, there's a lot of known problems with ProSim. But what is the proper sequence? I didn't put an arrival. Shouldn't have to do that. Let's see. Runway 9, we'll just do RNAV 9. The Betty 2 barrel. Betty 2. Well, I don't know what the proper sequence is, if that's the case, because I'm doing it the way I've always done it, and it's worked before. I haven't really changed anything that I'm aware of. Yeah, you're right, I can always change it. I don't know if that's the culprit behind this, because the takeoff sim brief is calling for, it's saying the select temperature is 47. Now I put 52 in there because I've tried that before and it's worked. And if I go to the Southwest performance takeoff, I guarantee it'll be different than what sim brief is showing. But all right, so I don't get it. I don't get it. According to Boeing, once you enter the select temperature in and all of these blanks are filled in, you hit VNAV and it's going to click. But the last half a dozen flights I've tried, it doesn't do it. It's like there's something else going on that's not clicking. Let me see what see, Southwest is saying 60 is their select temperature. Now, is that possible? They could be that high? I've had somebody tell me, no, it's never going to be more than 50 something. It's like, I've got a friend that's coming over in a couple of weeks that's a United pilot, and I'm going to take lessons from him. It'll be interesting to see if he thinks that this emulates Boeing, or if somehow ProSim is so far off the mark. Sort of ironic, it's called ProSim, right? Let's see. And I'm sure it's what I'm doing, but I've done it so many times that VNAV on the AP, yeah, on the VNAV up here on the MCP, you hit VNAV and it should connect if you've got a departure set. I mean, I've departed on just level change before, but I mean, I've got a departure, so I don't know why why VNAV is not enabling. And the fact that it's saying there's a VNAV invalid performance, what is the correct performance? Because everything I'm entering, it doesn't like any of it. And all the information that's being fed from the computer, I'm putting back into the flight plan, and it's not accepting it. So the data I'm given, I don't know what's right. If it's giving me wrong data, then what's the correct data? See my dilemma? Okay. So they're saying 60. I don't think so, but let's see. 60 and 17. Let's go to the legs page. This is the other thing that you have to do is you have to go, there's a couple, yeah, you have to go all the way to the end and work backwards. So go back. So there's this one. Clear that one. And now there's the beater. So we'll get that one. Execute. Okay. Okay, not a disco anywhere. Alright, so everything is filled. Please. Nope, still invalid. It's like what? Okay. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, and that's the irony is this airplane has been around a lot longer than the Airbus. So why is this a problem? And yeah, I don't know. It's very frustrating though. It's like, all right, I don't know what I don't know, and I've done it so many times that it's worked, and then now it's not working. I'm like, okay, well, why not? What's the change? What's wrong? Yesterday I had this problem, and I went through and I reloaded the departure, and it worked. And it's like, okay, that's weird. Yeah, 60 seems ridiculous. All right. Well, at this juncture, I have burned so much time. I've got a outing that's coming up here at 7:30. I'll never make this. Yeah, once I'm airborne, but it should come on now, and that's exactly per Boeing. And the one thing I do know, and I assume that you're referring to ProSim and Microsoft Flight Simulator. What is a known fact is that ProSim is not 100% compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator. So consequently, all these little quirky things that happen get pretty much played off on it's a ProSim issue. So I don't know. Well, I have this Bill Boofer's setup that's got a complete setup that shows everything. Let's try something else here. I'm not going to be able to take off, so I'm just going to mess around with this for a while. In fact, I'm going to kill this. We're waiting to see if we have an outing this morning with our small group, and if it rains, we're not going to do it. So I thought, well, if it looks like it's going to rain, I'll fly, but I don't know what the weather's currently doing. Yeah, we're looking okay right now. So I really don't have enough time to fly all the way down there, so appreciate the offer to try to help. I need a Boeing guy in here that knows how to do all of this. I have to admit the PMDG FMC was a whole lot more intuitive than this. Okay, departure. Double check and make sure that's what I'm looking at here. 35 left. Danny 3. I believe that is correct with the board transition. Yep. Execute. Arrival. I have 9. I think it's the Betty 2. Yep. Alright, so there's nothing in there. That's no discos. Request the performance data. No. Yeah, they're saying the select temperature 47. Mm-mm. $22.5. Now it took it. Go figure. I don't know. Redo the whole thing and it works. Do not request the speeds. Manual enter. See if that works. Well, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that, but it worked that time. It's like starting over, putting both the departure and the arrival, clearing all the discos, making sure everything is perfect before hitting BNAV. Yeah, I appreciate that. Entering it correct, and like I just did, that's pretty much the way I usually do it. I don't, unless I missed one of the discos, but it seems like if you go back and correct all the discos, that then it would work. But it's almost like ProSim doesn't do that. If something goes south, you got to start over completely, do it all again from scratch, and then it'll work. It's like, that's kind of bizarre. It's when you request the speeds from SimBrief when it screws up. Why is that, I wonder? Because I just loaded the data. I mean, I always load the data automatically instead of manually entering every entry. So, okay, where was I? It's like we got past that. Everything else looks good. We'll take a shot at it. Where did my mouse go? Here we are. Come here, mouse. All right. Before push, I'm going to put a push time here of 10:52. Bleed air. I'm going to turn the packs off. That's all on. Put our anti-collision lights on. Our start sequence will be 2. We get idle to 21%, and we'll add fuel. Here comes the tug. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to, I mean, I flew the PMDG for a couple of years, and maybe that's part of the, it's kind of like one of those things when you, if that's not as realistic as the Boeing supposedly is, or this is for the Boeing, then years of bad habits creep up on you. You don't really realize what you were doing wrong until you get into something that does it right. All right, nose to the left. Oh, let's see. Do I? Yeah. Just hang on a second. All right. Okay, so lights are on. Start number 2. And 2 coming up. All temperature 17. All quantity we're looking for 21 on the N2. And there's 21. Fuel cut off to idle. Is there an echo in that? Can't hear GSX. Good to know. I may have to go back and let's see. GSX is definitely plugged in. Can you hear that audio that's playing right now? That's the Southwest Virtual Audio flight attendant. The flight attendant's basically talking to the passengers. All right, start number one. We'll put the packs on. 2 on, and we'll put number 2 on the bus since it's running. And there's 21, fuel to idle. All right, so number 1 started, hydraulics all on, packs, auto. Check the gens, it looks good, Gen 1 looks good, Gen 2 looks good, probes on. And we'll turn the bleeds off on the APU, and the APU is shut down. But you can hear it, okay. Well, it's supposed to be kind of faint because we're not really supposed to hear it too loud inside the cockpit. She would be annoying if we had to do that, wouldn't it? All right, so let's see. Flaps 5 for takeoff. So let's just run through this real quick here. Before taxi, fuel cutoffs to idle, that's correct, idle detent. Both engines are on generator. All the hydraulics are on. Probe heat is on, correct. Window heat is on. The hydraulics are good. Bleed air's auto on. Exterior lights, we do have that. I'll put the probes on, or the position lights on strobe and steady when we get on the runway. We're going to put our taxi light on. APU is off. Master caution recall. It's good. Flaps set for takeoff. Flaps 5 are good. Transponder TARA, that's correct. Weather radar is on. I don't think we have any weather down here, and set at 5 minimum on the angle. And we'll do a quick flight controls check. That's good. Rudder's trim is looking good. All right, so I do appreciate the help on that. I had this happen the last time I was streaming, and the viewer offered similar suggestions. I'm just a little perplexed as to if it's the sequence of events, then yeah, I just need to be a little bit more observant to that. This is a big airport. So you said you have a A320, is that correct? You have an A320 full cockpit? What do you use? Microsoft Flight Simulator, P3D, X-Plane? Sun's coming up. Need to get over to golf. And how is that working for you? Okay, you have any issues with it? What's your screen setup? Wraparound projection. I thought about doing the projectors, but my room's a little bit too small for that. Alright, so there's Juliet 5, so that makes sense. We can get out onto Juliet Gulf, where they split here. There's Gulf. For default scenery, this is pretty decent. And all the way down. Got it all dialed in after years of messing with it. Oh, please don't tell me that. I've been messing with this since January, and it's only barely the beginning of April, and I feel like it all should be just smooth as silk. But I guess the past couple of weeks I've come to the realization that there's no such thing as a perfect setup, that it's just there's going to be something. It's like say intentions just deciding it didn't want to work today. Go figure. I have no idea what the deal is with that. It worked great yesterday. Now for some reason it doesn't want to connect. So I really prefer VATSIM at the end of the day, but VATSIM is just so hit and miss. And I mean, I get it. It's all volunteers, and you know, everybody's got a life. And that's where say intentions fills in the void. Yeah, there's nobody up. Yeah, it never stops. Well, I've got a GA sim upstairs, and I really got tired of it because I didn't bounce around a bunch of different aircraft. I was always just flying the 737. I just preferred it. That's what steered me to getting this. I thought about the Airbus, but I'm not a joystick guy, sorry. I've got a real nice F-18 professional grade joystick for DCS that I've used, but I probably have 10 hours of time on it in total. But I like the control loading, the heavy feel of the control loading hardware. It's more, to me, it's more of a seat of the pants, stick and rudder kind of airplane versus the Airbus is very sophisticated, a lot of new technology, and I know someone that has one. Captain Tango's got one, and he's got a real nice full cockpit, and he's real good at it, but he's also an engineer. Gets into all the details of the intricacies of it. I haven't really even gotten into starting to follow marking my times and checking fuels at each leg, make sure fuel burns correct, mainly because I want to get a flight. I'd like to have, you know, half a dozen flights that everything is very consistent. There's no something new popping up and not sure what's causing this, because then you're not sure if it just raises red flags that, you know, what's ProSim doing now, you know, and that's kind of debilitating. So I just fly when I can and have as much fun with it as I can when I can, and let things smooth out over the course of time. When did you stop flying professionally? Alright, so we're almost to the end here. Alright, so looking at our departure, talk about takeoff minimums, but we don't really have to worry about that. Alright, so 3-5 left, climb to on a heading of 005, intercept the 061 to cross Goham at or below 2600, 250 knots, then cross 85, cross Meigs at or below 5000, and then track 110 to cross Lapu at or above 7,000, then track 147. I could not imagine doing all of this manually. That would be a trip. All right. Flight attendants, please be seated for departure. Beautiful morning. All right. No takeoff time, 11:07. Attendants notified, lights on. We're going to go steady on the position lights. We're going to go continuous on the engines. Auto throttle is armed. Transponder set. Parking brakes released. Throttle up to 40%. Verify. Climb and flaps. Orlando traffic, Southwest 782, RNAV departure, Danny 3, runway 35 left. Okay. Takeoff power set, airspeed alive. Looking for V1, 92 confirmed, or you can feel the runway on this thing. 100 knots. B1, rotate. Positive brake, wheels up, RTO off. Now, one thing I do notice is the vertical pitch attitude on the flight director seems to be much more aggressive than if I tried to fly that. I would not be able to maintain the climb rate and the speed. So I usually stay a little bit below that, somewhere between 10 and 15. There it is, close. So just try to fly the flight director as close as possible. It's going to pitch down once I take the flaps out. Flaps up. There we go. So let speed come up a little bit. Beautiful morning. Trim out the weight on the yoke. Speed's coming up. There's 4,000. We don't have ATC, so Let's do a altitude intervention so we don't get restricted. Sun's coming up. All right, come on, 10,000. All right, 10,000, command on, lights off. We'll leave that on for now, leave the engines on continuous for now. We're at 37. Pressurization looks good. We're climbing at about 500 feet per minute. The pressurization, speed's climbing, altitude's climbing, VNAV is good. All right, 10,000 transition, autopilot is engaged. Cabin attendants know, flight attendants know they can start serving. Pressurization's checked. Engine bleeds confirmed are still on. Packs in auto. Recirc's auto. Nothing's changed. Isolation valve is in auto. APU is off. Exterior lights confirmed. Position light is strobe and steady. Anti-collision's on. We have our logo on. Wheel wells off. Wings off. Auto brake selector is off. We'll turn off the landing gear. Altimeter will be, QNH will be 2992 when we get to 18,000. And that's it. Ah, nice. Yeah, the laser projection I've heard are really nice. Because that was one of the differences that some of the guys were saying. Sorry, I need to bug up my heading indicator. Was that the LCD screens are so cheap and the pictures are so crisp nowadays that, you know, compared to some of the projection stuff, that they recommended going with TV screens. And then now they came out with the short throw projectors, that 4K projectors that are really nice as well, and the screens. I just didn't quite have enough room and ceiling height to do the projectors. Smoke machine. I like that. 2,000 you finished? Okay. Yep, fly the magenta line. I think that's what I was saying. The lateral, yes. The vertical, I just kind of watched the speed, because if I did follow the magenta speed track or vertical track, the speed would not continue to climb out of the flap range. And there's the Florida coast. Dukeby. That's the real aircraft. Yeah, I usually flip the RTO off at the same time I pull the gear up, but as far as the taxi light, yeah, I didn't turn that off before it took off. Well, I should have taken that off when I put the landing lights on. Yeah, one of the reasons that I got this Bill Buford's cockpit companion was because it does go into a lot of details. Now it's probably not going to address things like what you just said with the because of the static system, pedostatic system, that there's going to be a lag in the flight director. There's 18,000, but it does help understand a lot of the. It helps you learn a lot of the systems and what's going on behind the scenes. There's quite a bit of detail depending on what it is that you want to look at. You can see here where it goes into various elements. All you have to do is click on it and it'll tell you about that particular topic. So it's kind of cool. I was thinking as I'm flying longer flights, to get into more of, especially with the PFD, things that are happening, because I love the analogy that one person told me. He says, what you put in the MCP and what shows up on the PFD are two different things. Think of it as an elevator. When you're in an elevator on the first floor, you punch the 10th floor, that's where you're going to go. So that's what the MCP is for. It tells you where you're going to go. But the PFD tells you where you are at the moment and what's actually happening. So that's a good way to look at it in terms of how to read the information that the airplane's given you. So there's just a lot to learn, and that was part of the interest in having a full cockpit, was having something to always be learning. It's not just a desktop with a keyboard and a mouse. Alright, so there's Didani. And we got off of the, once you get a little bit too far out, then you're out of that. It doesn't show up anymore. Yeah, current versus forecast. That's the current, this is the forecast kind of thing. Yep. Good way to look at it. So are you in the US? Yeah, Styling Guy USA. Where is Styling Guy? Where did that, how did you come up with your handle, if I will? Yeah, normally would not do a flight this long streaming, because I like doing flights that are like an hour. You get up to cruise, you're there for a short while, and you start planning your descent, and then you start the descent. So there's always something interesting going on. I mean, as you can see, this is there's a lot of nothing for a long time. But you know that as a real world pilot, there's a lot of, especially on longer flights, there's a lot of time where there's really nothing going on. Thank goodness. Let's see. Let me look at something here. My OFP. Nope, no step climb. technical. What is takeoff? Looks like I've got double. There you go. Take a look at this. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Quite a departure from what you were doing previously. Maybe that was a welcome change. But again, sorry for your loss. I'll be right back. I'm going to go look. Looks like I'm getting some double images on my display there. So here I go. Yeah, I can imagine different worlds. So, are you flying a lot? That you, 'cause it's awfully early for you, for anybody to be up. Yeah, I'm probably going to kill this in about 30 minutes or so if I don't get a message that our church group event is not on, because I have a friend that's coming to pick me up at 7:30 so we can go do some maintenance around a local school just to help them out. Yeah, let's see. 12 nautical miles to top of climb. It's looking good. New York City. Yeah, I guess Saturday you would be open. Divert to Nassau. Yeah. No, I'm actually doing this as Southwest virtual flight, so I won't even be able to finish it all. But this was more of an opportunity to try to get in and see. I was really wanting to test the SA Intentions PDC feature that you call a number. It's a local number and text. It's like a text message. Just text to them your aircraft number and your flight number and your request, and they'll send you a PDC. So I tried that; it worked great. And then when the connection started malfunctioning with the microphone, I don't get what that is. I may try it again later without anything running to see what's going on. Yeah, so if you happen to look back later and see that this stream is not on this available, it's probably because I removed it from the public, especially with all the audio issues that were at the very beginning, the echoing and stuff. Again, I'm not a OBS expert, so I've set up what I know how to do, and you know, you save the file when you're done, and they open it up the next day, and it's something different's going on, and it's like, okay, that's bizarre. A little bit of turbulence up here. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Get out of this real quick and see if I can get it back up. Okay, there we go. Now we're live. So these cameras that I have set up are OBS bots. Do you do any streaming on your system? And I assume you're going to be departing out of here, since if it's 7 o'clock, that means it's 7:30 New York time. Are you working, or are you just observing while you're working? Oh, yeah. Well, these cameras, what I was saying about the streaming, these cameras are OBS bots. That's what they're called. It's the brand, but they're really good. They have, they're 4K. They have 3 programmable memory settings. So I've got one setting that's this one, like for this camera here. One setting with this view. Then I've got another one that zooms in on the throttle quadrant. And then I think I've got another one that pitches up towards the overhead, and I'm supposed to be able to control them with the Stream Deck that I have over here, but I haven't got it configured yet. But that's the plan. So the one behind me, this camera back here, has the same thing. So it's on a wide view. I could zoom it in, you know, and have a shot that zooms in down on the pedestal, or, you know, maybe a little bit closer up on the MCP. Just at certain stages of the flight, it might be interesting to have some zooming features. But this camera I put over here because I was thinking that when I do fly with the first officer, that camera, you don't want the camera to be in their way. So I tried to put it over here so it wouldn't be in their face, but still be usable. There's not a whole lot of places that you can mount these things. Because we're limited, I've got 180 degrees, a little bit more than 180 degree view. I didn't want to turn it more this way because then you'd see the edge of the screen. So stopping the view about right here is good. The screen is actually probably about 6 inches past where this camera's looking, but I still wanted to capture a little bit of the dash there. So you can play around with them, and I'll get some, you know, opinions from viewers, what they like, what they want to see, and can change it up a little bit. Well, thanks. Yeah, for the price, for a 4K camera that's got the quality that these have, they're a good value. Alright, so we're at cruise level, flight level 370. Seatbelt signs are off. We are cabin pressurizations at 6,000 with a 8 PSI differential. Fuel temperature is a little over, probably about 18. Cabin temperature is 30. Duct pressure looks good. Now we could turn the engine start switches off. Yeah, the other thing they FSC put in here, I don't know if you can see it, that's pretty cool, is they added oxygen mask boxes, real oxygen mask boxes, not with that produce oxygen obviously, but Giovanni's supposed to be sending me a pair, but they actually fit into these boxes, and there's a test button too. So you've got, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but there's a test button where you can hear the oxygen flow when you're doing your flow checks. But if you flip these up, there's an oxygen mask that actually fits down in here, and there's a audio jack. So there you can plug the oxygen mask into this audio jack. So if you do don the mask in a simulated pressurization failure, you can still talk to ATC. So yeah, they did a pretty nice job on configuring these to have functional utilization there. Not just a picture or a little plastic thing that looks like a mask, but an actual mask. I don't know anybody else is doing that. And the masks are reasonably priced. I think they were like under $500 for the mask. So you've got the Airbus. Is that a Scalarchy setup, or who makes your A320 setup? Ah, real parts. That's cool. That must have taken a while. Airbuses are not that old, so to be able to find real parts to put all of that together, and you did all the programming and all that stuff yourself, wow. What was that? Years, wow. Yeah, I have a acquaintance who lives up in Jersey that's building a 727, and he salvaged all of his components, went to the desert in California and found a couple of 3 727s out there in a graveyard, and stripped everything out of it for his cockpit. He's getting the floor and the dual yokes from Giovanni, and in fact it's already on the water, so his floor should be arriving within the next probably couple of weeks. And he's building all of the other componentry himself, just taking all the parts. I'm not sure if he didn't get the shell, so I'm not sure what he's doing for the shell portion, because this came with the MIP, was one unit, kind of freestanding, and the rudder pedals were sitting in there. They're not part of the MIP, but they were already pretty much bolted in. Because of the linkage and everything, it made sense to just ship them with them pre-installed into the MIP. And then all of that sat on the floor and was bolted down to the floor. The yokes were bolted in place and all the electronics plugged in for the control loading. And then the side walls here, turn this up so you can see that light, and then this light, the side walls. So from this gray piece down right here on this brake line, this back is all one piece, all the floor and everything. So this is all integrated into it. This is all metal. They're only, not sure what part is fiberglass, but this is all metal. Of course, the oxygen mask, that's all, printed. The vents are printed. Then I added in I don't think you can see them on the stream here, but there's two switches and a fake vent. The vent doesn't do anything, but the switches do. I've got fans hooked up to this. These are electronic switches, and there's a fan down here on this vent that blows in cooler air from outside the cockpit. So that's kind of nice. But the two side walls were bolted down to the floor, and then the shell from here up, all of this was one piece that just dropped down on top of it with the glass and everything, which I took out before we put on. So I'm not sure what my buddy's doing for a 727, but it's quite a project. It was 6 crates, 1,200 kilos. The shell was get this right. It was 5 foot wide by 9 feet long by 7 feet high was the crate that the shell came setting on its back, and the fore and aft overhead panels were already installed. So just had to unbolt it, and I pulled all the glass off. This is fiberglass in here. This piece, this is fiberglass. So I took all of this out, took the glass out, the windshield glass and the side glass out, and made it quite a bit lighter, because this stuff is like 3/16 to almost a 1/4 inch thick tempered glass, like automobile glass. It's not light. So that made it a lot easier to handle, and I had 3 guys from the gym that came over and helped Captain Tango and me with it. So Captain Tango grabbed all the wiring harness that was going through the middle here to plug it into the MIP, and I was guiding everything to make sure that nothing up here got hit while they were bringing it through the door on its back, and then they flipped it over and then set it up on top. So it was pretty amazing. But if you go back, and I may have told you this on one of the earlier streams that you were on, if you look at my YouTube site, there's a group of videos called time lapse, and that pretty much shows the whole picture from the time the crates showed up in my garage to the time we, as Captain Tango says, we crowned the sim. All of that was on, it's all time lapse. There's a series of videos there. It's kind of cool. And that was, his wife had suggested that because he didn't do it when he was building his Airbus, and she said, man, I wish you'd have done a time lapse. So with her encouragement, that's what we decided to do, and it really wasn't a lot of trouble. It was pretty easy to set up the camera, and just whenever we'd start the day, we'd just hit the button on the time lapse, and every 5 seconds it would take a picture, and had plenty of storage for all the images, and then just grabbed all the images, brought them into DaVinci Resolve, and didn't do anything fancy, but it didn't take that long to put the little video together from the day before's events, and there you go. It's all set. But I would think of all of the things that I've done with this, that's probably the one I'm happiest that I did, was the time lapse, because it's a quick way to go back and reflect on all that stuff and go, man, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. I wouldn't want to do that again. But it was a lot of fun, and Captain Tango was terrific to come out and help me with that. Good people. All right, 6:45 here. So let's take a look at something. We've got the Southwest Virtual ACARS system. Now I'm hearing the virtual pilot telling the passengers that we've reached our cruising altitude is like, yeah, you're a little bit late on that recording there, pal. We do have the capabilities with our software to, which I'm trying to get my intercom button here set up, where I can actually record a message and then it'll play back for the passengers, virtually speaking. All right, so Mammal is the 35 miles. That's interesting. Okay, Mammal. Mammal, we should have 10.5, and we've got 11.5. Let's do this. Turn the crossfeed on and turn number 1 aft and forward tanks off and let those balance out a little bit. We got 5.6 in tank 1, or the left tank, and 5.72 in the right, so we'll balance that out a little bit. So I turned the fuel pumps off on the tank with the lower quantity, and then put the crossfeed on to let the right side balance out a little bit, so both engines will draw off of that side, or at least it won't be drawing as fast on the left. So time wise, 11:47, so we're 40 minutes into the flight. Yeah, I'd really like to get, I want to get a knee board and print out on these OFPs, print out like from page 3, not all of it, because a lot of it you can get, but at least, you know, a couple 3 pages per flight where you have some notes where you can put the actual data. So what time did I arrive at this fix, and what was the fuel burn, and what's the actual there, to see if there's any serious discrepancies. Did y'all do that when you were piloting, real world piloting? And timing on my fuel, just about right. We're at 5.64, 5.64, so we're good there. All right, and warning's off. Did you did you guys manually track all your fuel burn and stuff as part of your SOP when you were flying? Yes, every flight I still do. Wow. Well, I guess if nothing else, it makes it interesting and more realistic. It gives you something to do, especially on long flights like this. And part of the reason for putting in the this, tell me if this is, I'm turning off some of these lights. This just a little bit, don't really need any of these to see, but it's kind of dark. Just kind of curious from a viewer standpoint what looks better. And let me turn this dome light off. So this would be definitely a typical night flight interior lighting. What do you think about that? And then I'm going to put a little bit more of the background light in. This would probably be about the maximum I'd want to have for a typical flight, but that may be too dark for viewers. What do you think? Use an iPad and mark the PDF notations. Yeah, I've got this iPad, and I've got a stylus that I can write on it, but what I don't, are you able to write on your PDF or your OFP? Because you can't write on this. I look for an app that would allow you to just be able to write on any, you know, any screen that you could take notes, but I haven't been able to find that. But that would be nice if you could do that. Or do you actually pull up, because this technically is viewing the PDF from within the browser. PDF, paid version PDF on an iPad, okay. The other aspect, and I sometimes use, let's see, where is it? Not there. Freeform, this Freeform tool, for just doing notes and stuff like that. You can write on there information from ATC, which is kind of nice. But to be able to write on the actual OFP would be nice. So I started with the idea that I would do this for taking notes, but and writing down clearances and that kind of thing. But just old school tells me having a piece of paper on my knee board and then clipping the OFP there for taking notes on fuel burn, that kind of thing, seems more comfortable because you're always gonna, I have a pin right here that I can grab and use versus having to pop this out when I want to write something down. But I guess you get used to anything. So you got just a paid version of Adobe, the Adobe Reader, or what? Or the full Adobe? Because I know they had one where it was, what I'm looking for, where it was the cloud-based thing, and I don't want to do that. Edit PDF. So that's must be the one you're thinking of. Yeah, I'm familiar with ForeFlight. One of my buddies in Arizona uses that. What's the cost of it versus having to pay for Adobe subscription? Because I'd have my annual subscription for Navigraph too. I mean, would ForeFlight replace Navigraph, or do you use both of those? But the ForeFlight you can take notes in, so that wouldn't be, you wouldn't have to require the Adobe. So I take it you had the Adobe first that you were using, and then you discovered you could take notes on the ForeFlight app later? Top of the hour here. I need to determine what we're doing. Alright, well, styling guy, I'm going to have to bolt out of here, pal. I appreciate you keeping me company all this time. It's been real nice. Enjoy your input, your feedback, and the help with the programming. Let's see real quick. ForeFlight is much more compared to Navigraph, I believe. Ooh, $300 a year for ForeFlight. That's right, you fly a PC-12 too. For business related stuff. Yeah, okay, so you can use it. I see. Sounds good. Yeah, well, yeah, appreciate the input and the help, but I'm gonna have to bolt out of here, so I'm gonna terminate the stream and try to figure out what's going on with this Say Intentions audio and get back up. But other than that, you were telling me that the audio was a little bit weak on the GSX. Not sure if you could hear the Southwest flight attendant, but that's okay. And then I think all the feedback's been taken care of. I'm not sure. We'll take a look at. We'll take a look at the Say Intentions as well, because it may be a different audio channel that it's coming in. I know the very beginning of the flight it was crazy weird, but there was a OBS issue I took care of. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one.